Tom Nethersole and Kye Arnot are singers and songwriters from Melbourne who have their own projects. Tom with his EP Father, Son and the Space in Between released earlier this year, and Kye with his song Common Things also released this year. Together they have a new song, the unforgettable, heartbreaking, glorious Holiday Spirit, and I'm going to talk to both of them about it. Hello Kye and hello Tom.
Hello.
Oh,
Thank you for having
Sophie.
us.
Thank you so much.
It's great to have you. And so Kai, Tom and I have met before, and this is my first time speaking to you. And yeah, I'm saying to both of you, thanks for breaking my heart each time I listen to this song, because it's just a beautiful piece of work, and I think uh, one of the best examples of why an individual song can be so important. I think we can often think about, oh, there's a sweep of songs or an album. It's, individual songs can have such impact, and this is just a beautiful song. We will get to talk about it, but I wanted to actually talk about your respective releases this year, just to start to build the story. So, Kai, I'm going to start with you. And Common Things is also a glorious song, and it's also
Thank you.
heartbreaking. Um, so, I'm interested in the music that has influenced you before you became a songwriter.
Yes. Okay. I think a lot of Australian folk artists have been a strong influence for me. Missy Higgins growing up was always a massive one. I know that's the case for a lot of other singer-songwriters. And then Angie McMahon has been a big one in recent years and in throughout high school. I think those two are pretty massive ones. And I think vocals wise and songwriting, Jeff Buckley, not Australian, but he's a massive influence for me. And
Don't often
yeah,
hear Jeff referred to that often anymore, but I was around when Jeff released his album, Release Grace, and I remember like what a nuclear bomb it was basically in music because yes, there was this singular artist with his voice and his just his way of writing songs and performing as well, I think. So but where things are different now, Kai, is that you've built a large following on TikTok. Of course, there was no social media when Jeff was around. And TikTok is something that artists have to think about, obviously. But I'm wondering if it came to you naturally to start performing on TikTok, basically.
I don't think so. I was playing little local gigs, and then someone eventually said you have to start posting on TikTok, and I thought, oh, may as well give it a try. And then as soon as I started, I got a little bit addicted to, everything, working out the algorithm, posting, and yeah, it became a bigger thing for me. So, but no, it did not. It wasn't always something that came naturally.
I'm wondering whether, because I would imagine you had some songs you could choose from to record as your first single, which is what Common Things is, whether you actually were conscious of or tested out on your TikTok audience which song you should release first.
Absolutely. Nobody in my like personal life thought that Common Things would be the one that I would release first. I had so many ones lined up, and I tested them, and they just didn't hit the same way Common Things did. And I think I wrote it that night, and then posted a little clip for a uni project, and then people started to listen to it and want it released. So it switched up my whole release plan. But yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
Because it's a
Yeah.
really vulnerable song, right? It's to come out of the gate with. It's basically you showing your whole heart, as far as I can tell. And so it has this refrain. I'm going to let people listen to it in case I'm not going to tell them what it is, but it's really affecting. So I'm also interested in whether for you, as it was the first single, even though you tested it on TikTok, whether you were thinking, "Oh God, is this the one? Should I really go out with this?"
I think a lot of it, I had to switch up the lyrics because I didn't want people in my real life to know who it was about or what it was about. So there's still a little bit of a wall up. I felt like I was being vulnerable, but not too vulnerable. I'm like, people in my real life aren't going to know who this is about. Um, but I have a tendency to write very heartfelt or vulnerable songs anyway. So whatever I picked was going to be rough.
Okay.
So, but
Well,
no.
Tom's a master at that, and I will now go to
Oh
Tom
yeah.
with his EP. Because I spoke to you, Tom, about Ardmona Rd, which is this beautiful song. It's a love song. It's also a hopeful love song, as in it's to a possible person you're thinking about, and it's on the EP. The EP in itself just has these beautiful quite a few songs on it, actually. It's more album length, just quietly. But I'm wondering how long it was in the making.
I started like writing the first song probably about like May last year, but I don't think like the concept of putting it all together into an EP kind of came about until I wrote Residue, which is like has this line by the sun and the space in between in it. And yeah, that's when I was kind of like, oh, now I kind of know what the theme and the angle of this whole project is, and that kind of gave a bit of a direction and perspective for all these other songs that I'd written to kind of come together.
And Residue has some recordings of, I'm guessing, your family members on it, which really build out the world of it, but also make it in and of itself, yes, heartrending. So, was that the original conception for that song?
No, actually, there was a sample from Father of the Bride like littered throughout, and we got to like the final mixing, we got it mastered, we had uploaded to distro. I was like, oh, okay, the EP's done. Like this is out of my hands now. Like thank God. And then we got a thing back saying that like there was too much of the sample used, and like we couldn't use any of it. Um, and I don't know why I just had this like unbridled confidence to be like, no, it's just gonna like, come out like they can take my royalties or whatever, but like this is like so integral to the song. So then, yeah, I was talking with Hayden Lowson who mixed it, and we like threw together this version or like a bunch of different versions with, yeah, this voicemail from my nanny, and then my housemate and best friend Robert Baxter like recorded kind of a message that he like would have said to me and like when we were moving out, and moving from the country to the city. And I think that like in the end, that is so much more special than just like a sample for a movie. And I was very grateful to like sit down, and I went for a run, and he like sat down and recorded like all these voice memos and stuff, and we were both like crying listening to them back. And then we picked like the best parts to let it throughout. So yeah, I think it all ended up working out how it was supposed to.
Yeah, look, I agree with you, Tom, and I'm the arbiter here. It is more special having that on it, I think, than having a sample from a film. And yeah, I think also with you on this EP, Ardmona Rd was a really heartfelt song, but you are also offering us so much of yourself on this EP, and I'm wondering if for you too, it was a decision of, how much am I prepared to put out there? How brave can I be? Because I do always think that's a consideration too.
Yeah, I probably could have gone down more of the route of what Kai was doing with like changing some of the lyrics to not be as specific, so that people like didn't know as much about my life. But yeah, that just never came as a thought. The only thought that I had was to change Ardmona Road to be like a slightly different name, so it wasn't the actual name of the road where I grew up. But yeah, no, I think I could learn a few things from Kai about putting a wall up in that regard.
Well, now speaking of learning from each other, you have of course written this song with each other, but you had to meet first. So even though the two of you both grew up outside of an urban area, so you're both from country Victoria, I believe you met on TikTok. So Kai, do you want to tell that story?
Yes, I mean, it's a bit blurry. I feel like it's wild because anyone will ask me, how did you meet these people in your life, or how do you meet these people you're working with? And the answer is TikTok 90% of the time, which is pretty special. But I think we just started following each other and then commenting on each other's videos, and I can't even remember what the first interaction was, but I think we met at a gig, and Tom came to my gig, and from there we just started talking, and we had a plan to make a song together, and eventually it left the group chat and we started making it. And the first time we hung out, we focused less on songwriting and more on just getting to know each other and really opening up about our upbringing and kind of seeing the context of us as artists before we worked on a project together. And I think that helped a lot. Yeah.
And Tom, have you met other people through TikTok as well?
Yeah, I mean, the only other collaboration that like I've done this year was with Jack's Charles Webb, and that was another one that like even though we grew up in like similar kind of areas or in the similar like kind of scenes, like my first interaction with both Kai and Jax was from TikTok. And then from there it's like, oh, we have like a lot of mutuals, and that just like broke down like those levels of like, okay, this person's not like crazy. Or like I don't know, it felt like there was like one point of like connection away, and yeah, just made it much more like I guess accessible.
I think it's legitimate to wonder if someone's crazy when you're meeting them on social media, but
I
having
didn't think
said
that about you guys.
Yeah, okay. I know that was
I
targeted.
know it now, but I didn't think it
Yeah.
then.
I actually think TikTok, because I've made a friend off TikTok, and obviously I'm a different generation, but the friend I've made is actually your generation. So and so that I found interesting, and also made me think, well, I don't know that, yeah, I haven't made friends off any other social media platform, right? And I'm wondering if it's because on TikTok actually people are more likely to be themselves or be almost themselves as opposed to other social media where it's a bit more performative, even though you're literally performing on TikTok, if that makes sense. Tom, you can
Yeah.
take.
That's so fair. I think like because it's so much more spread out and there's such like a push to people who aren't just following you, like there's more freedom to be like, oh, the people closest in my life aren't probably going to see this, and I can
Mhm.
just put myself out in the world how I want to be seen and not necessarily how I think I'll be seen by the people around me. And I think there's a freedom in that that allows people to express themselves in a way that feels more true to themselves or true to who they want to be.
Yeah, and there's certainly a lot of music on TikTok in the way, Kai, that you've been performing. That actually, you're putting out ideas to your audience, and they're giving you a response, and that's shaping what you're releasing. I don't see that activity happening on another platform to the same extent.
Yeah, no, I think exactly what Tom said. I think it TikTok feels like you can create an account with no one knowing and you can be your honest self. Whereas for me, my Instagram account is the same one I've had since I was 12 years old. And I've got people I went to primary school with following me. So I think as well, people consume them differently. I think Instagram has a reputation of being very polished and particular. And I think TikTok, people are searching for humanity and authenticity. Uh, I think people are really good at pretending to be authentic as well. So I don't think it always works out, but I think there is an authenticity that TikTok has that Instagram or Facebook or somewhere else might not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Tom, just as Kai's put music to his followers and it determined his first single, have you been doing the same thing with yours?
I mean, I kind of had it already planned out like which singles I thought would come out this year for this EP. But I think yeah, it's been nice to see like which ones are resonating more, or even just like what parts of the songs to push more because of like the response that they get. And I think that's been very nice to have that immediate connection with the people who are actually listening to your music.
Yeah, it's such a different way of thinking about recording, releasing all sorts of things. I mean, it seems like you two are both literally going with the flow of it, as in you're flowing through the app. It's all working. I'm just so interested in the whole thing. I'm not going to stay on TikTok though because we have a song to get to now. So leading us towards it. So Kai, you talked about when the two of you first met to get towards songwriting. Tom, what was the point at which you actually started writing the song?
Well, we had like a bunch of concepts that we thought about writing about, and there was something in our like life that was kind of a crossover at that time, I remember. And we're both like, oh, that's happening in your life as well, like that's also happening in mine. And we went, no, we're not touching it. Let's move on to something else. It was like a bit too real. So maybe one day we'll come back to that. But yeah, I had this concept in my notes app forever of like the first Christmas after someone passes away and just like the multiple meanings of like the holiday spirit. And yeah,
Mhm.
I brought this to Kai and he was like, that's sick. And yeah, there was just like an instant thing of like, let's explore that and what that means. And I think it was nice to like draw on each other's experiences of family Christmases because I think that's such like a unique thing to every family and every dynamic that it
Mhm.
was, yeah, very nice to build on like the hour or so conversation we'd had beforehand of like getting to know each other and like getting up to where we were in our lives now to then, I guess, go back and see how we could make this nostalgic song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a. Sorry, Kai, go on.
No, 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 you go.
I was going to say, because Tom, the last time we spoke, you told me that your mother died when you were a child, and I would imagine, well, I can only imagine the impact that had on any kind of celebration, whether it's birthday or Christmas. But Christmas does have that special resonance, which is what the song acknowledges, I think. So yeah, I'm guessing you drew very much. Well, for me, actually, what's in the song is not so much the fact of that, but the feeling of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think I guess we kind of approach this song as like it can be that someone like going through a divorce and like these like parents are no longer together or like you've gone through a breakup and that person is no longer coming around to the family Christmas. I think we wanted it to feel as like relatable while still being very specific about like this certain instance so that it was still like able to resonate with people who weren't going through something like that. I think there's something about a loss and this like I don't know. I think around this time of year there's a lot of pressure to be really like joyful and stuff, and I think for a lot of people that's not usually the case, whether it's because of family dynamics or because of like financial situations. And I think that's just something that was like we wanted to touch on with this.
Yeah, there's a line that comes in the first verse and it recurs about leaving the lights up because that used to be your job. And I mean that's it's a simple line, but it's those lines are actually really hard to get to, I think, for writers because you can try to over describe things, you can try to get the right metaphor, whatever it is, but that's that simple, supposedly simple idea of what that represents and what it offers to the listener, I think is really extraordinary. Actually, I mean the lyrics, all the song are extraordinary, but starting it off with that had a huge impact, at least on me. There you go.
I love to hear that. That's so sweet.
That's really nice. Thank you.
So I'm wondering, as you got into your songwriting rhythm together, did it take a bit of adjustment? Was there a bit of push and pull, or did it work pretty easily? Kyle, I'll direct that to you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I am very new to co-writing. It's only something I started this year, and this was my first, I'd say, significant co-writing project.
Mhm.
So I think having that hour of us just talking about our lives helped so much. And then we kind of just threw things out there, played some guitar, sang over it. It was a bit of a mess at the start. It was actually a bit of a mess the entire time until we got into the studio and we're like, okay, we've got all of this. Where does it go? Who sings what? What do we do with it? And it just kind of works itself out. But I really, really enjoyed writing with Tom. I think we've got a lot of I think establishing a lot of the similarities growing up helped us to write together because I think it's a very difficult thing to write with someone who you've had completely different upbringings with, for me at least. So,
And Tom, you've co-written before. Ardmona Rd. There are some other songs on the EP that are co-writes. So I'm wondering how you found this experience with Kye. As for each time you go into a co-write, is there an adjustment you have to make? Or do you have to just go in completely open and see how it works?
I think like yeah, it changes every single time, but like even though I'd like written with a lot of people before, for some reason I was like very nervous going into our session. And I think I might have been like building it up a bit too much or like having too much like expectation on like what are we gonna write today. And I feel like I remember us being both very like indecisive or both very like what's the word? We both just kept being like, oh no, that idea is better. Like, let's go with yours. Like, I don't mind. I think we could have had a bit more like decisiveness or like stood a bit more firm in like each other's ideas, I guess. We could have just been like, oh, your idea is better. That's so like my idea was shit. Why did I say that? Yeah.
It sounds like you were both being extremely polite with each other.
I think it started off being so polite, and then by the end of working on the song, would be like, no, I don't like that. So
That's very true. By the time we got into the studio, we'd be like, oh, what do you think about this? And we go, no, it's not very
I
good.
hate it.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it in your own song, but don't do it in this one.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did you decide who was going to sing what? Was it a paper, scissors, rock situation, or is it just you both sang all of it and then found out where you wanted to have various things?
I feel
I
like
think we'll, you
you
go.
go. No, you go.
I think we were both drawn to a particular verse, and that's how it started. And yeah, I think when we were in the studio, Tom, you said you start us off, and then yeah, I mean the verse, that second verse, you were doing it justice the entire time while we were recording, so it kind of yeah made sense.
Yeah, I think like that was the one time where I think like I put my foot down and was like, no, I think you should start this song. Because I think like starting with just that like richness and the warmthness of Kai's voice was like the perfect way to settle us into this track. And then it can go into like the softer stuff and build up. But yeah, that's where I was like, thank you for thinking that I should do the first verse, but I think that like for the song, if nothing else, I think you should start the song.
So you both separately have great melodic instincts, Kai, in your song Common Things. We can hear that, Tom, in all of your songs. That's really clear. So I'm interested in how you actually came to the melody of this. Was it just by working together, or were there like parts of phrases that you were melding?
You
Tom, do you want to take this?
I was gonna say you can take it if you want.
The politeness
Um,
comes to the fore.
yeah, we both had slightly different versions the entire time. And I think even we recorded two different versions accidentally. And it was
Oh
just
wow.
up to Stephen, the producer, to make it sound all right. But we were both, I think for me, it was an accident. I was accidentally singing the melody slightly different. And then I remember in the studio, there was one thing that we had agreed upon. And then as we were recording it, I was making eye contact with Tom, accidentally sang it the wrong way, and I just whispered sorry as I was doing it. But yeah.
Yeah, it felt like a dance mom's moment, like sitting in the corner watching Kye record and be like, "Yep," and we're gonna hit the point. This is the part where we sing that lyric. But then like the same thing happened. Like we just had two very different versions, and it wasn't until we'd both recorded both of our separate lines that we were like, "Okay, so which line should it be? Let's actually make a decision now."
Mm,
So
yeah.
I'm intrigued that there are two different versions now. So that means there's another version sitting out there.
There is a extended version
Okay. All right.
with a
Well,
bridge.
okay. Well, some people would like to hear that version. So just take your own
Some
time.
people need to cry.
Yeah. Some people do. I'm not above emotionally manipulating myself, Tom. I just have to. And this song might help me do it. So, given that you came into this with respective experiences to do with loss and around the Christmas season, I'm wondering if you felt that actually making the song has helped you release some of it. I don't like the word closure, so I'm not going to use that word. Some people do like it, but I'm more wondering whether you feel like, maybe Tom, this is especially for you, you get to tell the story now rather than the story being told to and about you, if that makes sense.
That's a very nice way of putting it. I've never thought of it like that. But I think it's nice, like, even just for the simple fact that there's like some more somber songs around this time of year that do focus on, I guess, the harder parts that people like to sweep under the rug around this time of year. I think I'm just very grateful that we've created a song that contributes to that, and that is there for people who like don't necessarily feel seen by the upbeat kind of Christmas songs. And I know that
Yeah.
like around this time of year, I love like a really soft acoustic indie folk kind of track, and I think that is nice that we've created something like that that stands out from the rest of the Christmas music.
And Kai, I feel like it's a song that you could keep in your set year round, actually, because I think the sentiment's probably the same. And I've seen on your socials you play a few folk shows around Melbourne, for example. So keep it in your set all year round.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like it's shifted my uh, idea of Christmas, and I always uh, I don't know. I put so much pressure on Christmas being perfect. And one thing that Tom and I were talking about with this song, we're like, oh, it happens every single year. We can give this song another moment next year or the year after and for the rest of our lives. So I feel like I'm letting go of a lot of the pressure of Christmas and thinking I can play this song every single year during December. And it's exciting to think about where we can go with this song in regards to live shows. So yeah.
Well, I'm also, yeah, thinking that the two of you, since you obviously collaborated really well, and Tom, you were mentioning that when you first started writing with each other, there was a subject that you decided to discard. I mean, that suggests that perhaps that there is much more to this. That actually there's many more songs and perhaps shows. I'm not your manager, so I'm not trying to give you ideas, but
If we're healed by then, yeah, we might touch on it. Yeah.
just sounds, yeah, just thinking it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
It's worked beautifully the first time.
When Kai's not in Thailand, we can we can discuss it more.
true.
Oh, yes, at the time we're
We'll do a
speaking,
Zoom
Kai.
call. Yeah.
Yeah, Kai is in fact in another country, not just another time zone, but a whole other place. So just to slightly change direction in the stories we're talking about, Tom, when you and I spoke about Ardmona Road, you talked about it being the queer love song you wished you'd had while you were growing up. But it's also just a great love song, and I was thinking, well, that's the point, right? Queer stories can be for everyone, and I think that that's also what you're doing with this song.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I like writing songs that like feel very specific and tell like a very strong narrative, but I think like at the heart of it, it'd be nice for as many people to be able to relate to these songs as possible.
Yeah. And Kai, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but I just thought I'd bring it up.
I don't know if I do, but I think every time I listen to Tom's music, I think it's pretty universal, and I played it to my nana, and she loved it. I think it's very universally loved. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Thanks, Kai.
So, in terms of, we're now heading into the holiday season at the time we are speaking, and obviously live shows go on pause. Kai, you're traveling. I'm wondering if you have plans for 2026, either, well, I've already put you on the spot about future collaborations, so we'll move on from that. But as individual artists, do you have plans for 2026?
Yes, for 2026, I've been making an EP, so we can expect the EP out early next year. But yeah, that's the major plan, I think.
Okay, that's pretty exciting for
I'm
your
very
many
excited.
many TikTok fans and also for your new fans like me.
I'll stop it.
And Tom, what about you?
I feel like I have a tendency to like move very, very quickly and try and like I don't know, just make a lot of shit, which is evident by the fact that like we're releasing this song after I just released like 8 tracks. Um, so I think I'm trying to slow myself down a bit and like I guess like Kai was saying of letting this like EP and stuff live for a bit longer and like knowing that we have the rest of our lives to sit in it and promote it. But in saying that, like I've been writing a lot of songs and like producing a lot of stuff. And I guess the main thing for 2026 is just like live shows and hopefully doing some like tours and stuff around Australia.
Hmm. And so, on your own respective Christmas playlists, who's going to feature? Kai, you first.
Oh, okay. I think Last Christmas is my go-to ever since I was a little kid. That's the one that sticks with me. I can't think of. Oh, and RuPaul, I Saw Daddy Kissing Santa Claus.
Well, I mean, I always think, yeah, I'm with you. Last Christmas is such an iconic song, and I know a lot of people go towards Mariah Carey for the iconic Christmas song, but no, I think George Michael knew what he was doing.
Oh
Tom,
yeah.
but that's only two songs, Kai. I'll let you think about whether you want to add some more. Tom, on your
Okay.
playlist.
God, well, you took RuPaul, so that's tough. I think I'm honestly just gonna say like all of Pentatonic's like their Christmas music. Mary, did you know? White Winter Hymnal. Like yeah, all of Pentatonics is like my Christmas music.
Okay, we've had no Michael Bublé mentioned. I would like to point out.
I do like some Michael Bublé, especially White Christmas with Shania Twain. I love that song.
Kai, any additions?
Oh, this is hard. I feel like I Christmas music is something I sometimes avoid. Yeah, I think Last Christmas will be on repeat.
Okay, I'll let you have that. That's fair enough.
Thank
Because
you.
also, I actually your song "Holiday Spirit" has actually prompted me to want to make a Christmas playlist, which I've never done. But I just thought I actually really want to see how I put this song into a playlist with other Christmas songs. And so that's going to be my project over the next few days. So there you go. You've inspired some different kind of making on my part.
I'm
If you
so
do, I
glad.
highly recommend Holidays by Conan Gray. That was another one that we had in our playlist that was like very beautiful for the Christmas time.
Okay, well, thank you for the tip. But it's going to be hard to top this one. I'm serious. It's just such a glorious song. I congratulate you both. I'm now going to wrap us up, and then I'm going to go back to listening to this song and having another cry, and it'll see me through to Christmas probably in a glorious way.
Yeah, God, I think
Thank you.
your brain's gonna be very happy when it's not Christmas. You can experience joy again.
No, it's just because I love your voices together, individually glorious together, beautiful, and the melody, the lyrics. So it's one of those songs that just really hits the spot. So thank you both, Tom Nethersole, Kye Arnot. Lovely to talk to you, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much, Sophie.